Welcome everyone to the very first episode of 1111 with the Oracle May. Me, I am your lovely host. And this is my little baby that I've decided to start. 11 questions every Thursday at 11:11. These videos, these interviews will be dropping on my YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss your possible fave. And if Miss SoulDeep is not your fave, then I really don't know what you're doing. Because honestly, her songs have been on repeat for me. And I would like to believe I got good taste. So that's that on that. And I'll let her introduce herself. Who is SoulDeep? Let us know.
Hi, that's a very layered question. I'm just a Zimbabwean-born musician. I'll say singer-songwriter because that's where I am mostly. And man, I just love music. I love Jesus. I love people. I love entertainment. I'm one of those people who's obsessed with everything art. So even if I can't do it, you'll find me, always trying to look at what's trending in terms of the art sector and not just music. But like just art for me is such a beautiful form of expression. And I think I'm just an all-round artist. I love art and I love how people use art. I love to learn about how we use art as humans. And yeah, this is my way of using art. And I've been doing this for a bit. I officially debuted a few years ago, but I've been always in the music scene. I've always been within somewhere, somehow, but officially I debuted in 2018 with my EP, Pese Pese, but that was after releasing so many singles before. So yeah, I just love music. I'm a genuine music fan. I just so happen to be a musician
as well.
But I actually am a very big music fan. So yeah.
That's great. Hey, that's great. It's always nice to see somebody who's into the arts, regardless of what art it is. Were you always like into music since you were a kid? Or did this come later, like high school or?
Oh no. Like my parents were in the choir at church. So for me, music it was never a question of if, it was a question of when and how. So like my parents were in the choir. I grew up in the children's choir. I always knew that I wanted to sing. I didn't know at what scale. I didn't know exactly like what the music form would be, but I knew I wanted to sing. So I grew up around music. My dad had all the LPs growing up. You remember LPs?
Yeah, I do. My dad had some.
My dad had a lot. I think now they're all gone, but we had like a collection. Sometimes I would just flip through it, just looking at the different names and the different records. And like, you had the old school Sungura, you had like Anna, Nat King Cole and them. So I grew up
Bob
in a
Marley.
house just filled with music. Yeah, Bob Marley. My dad is actually an artist by profession. So he would be making like wedding decorations during the night, and you would hear like these LPs just like blaring out of the radio. So music was always something that surrounded me. My granddad was in a band. My mom's brother, he's a musician in Botswana. So music was always an undercurrent in my family. And I never questioned the fact that I wanted to do music, although I didn't know if it was going to be as a hobby or as a profession, but I knew I needed music in my life from a very early age.
All right. So that means that, which is my next questions, were or are your parents supportive? Since your dad is a musician, I'm going to go with yes. Or did he not want you to follow his footsteps?
Well, my dad isn't a musician. He was just in the choir, but my parents really wanted me to sing because my mom, I remember, used to make me sing a lot when we go for like family events and stuff. But when it came to actually picking up music as my career, yeah, it was yay. Fights, like there were internal conflicts with my parents, because for my parents, I was a musician, yes, but I could do that on the side. And so initially, I've always loved everything art, like I said. So I was like, okay, I want to study music. And they were like, I don't think that's really a good idea. Then I was like, okay, I've always wanted to design because I loved fashion from a very young age. I used to watch my mom making dresses and stuff for me. So this was something I wanted to do. So I was like, I'll be a fashion designer. And then, we'll see after my first degree. And then I got my fashion degree. But at the end, I was just like, I need to do music. I got my degree, but my parents were like, so what are you going to do? And the idea was to start a business. But in my head, I knew I wanted to just do music. So I went
That's where
ahead,
your head was at.
and my parents were like, you know what? We don't know, just whatever. Because at that time, I was unemployed anyway. I was at home. So they were like, it can't hurt. And so that's how I went for my first audition at a talent show. And then the rest just from there,
Fell into
that's how
place.
my music, yeah, that's how music just became my my career. So yeah, it was a journey. It was hard for them to accept that because for my parents it seemed like they had an idea that my brain was just too, they felt like music wasn't going to really be as, explore my mental, my talents, like mentally, like my smarts. They were just feeling like it's not gonna be as, like being a lawyer or being a doctor. And they didn't realize just how much thought goes into just making music, because my parents had never actually just been in the industry. They've just always just been, in church, at home. It had never been a career for them. So they didn't understand how I would turn this around. And I, at the time, I was also unsure. It's not like I knew. I also had doubts, but I had to just for that time I had to
Push.
pretend like I had a strategy, and I
Yeah.
had to make it. So yeah, that's how it happened. So it was a hard, but now it's what ifs, man. They're like, yeah, because they just know this is what I'm doing. So they're supportive now, because they've seen how far I've come. It's been a journey for me to actually prove that this is something that I can do.
I can imagine. And it's a bit I think it's something with most African households back then. Like nowadays they're being a bit better, but at the time that perhaps we did uni, which was a couple of years ago, a significant number of years ago, um, anything to do with art was kind of like a do
It's
accounts,
so
but
risky.
then do this on the side, or do law, but do this on the
Yeah,
side. So you had so many people doing degrees they did not even want.
they didn't really want to do.
Mm.
And a lot of people are actually working jobs. And I think for a long time, that was my gripe, because I wanted so bad to be a musician, but I also had a profession that was being a designer. And so now I had to decide if I was going to be a fashion designer or a musician, because I'd never just focused on music, because music has always been the other thing that you do, which is funny because it was the thing that you do best.
Yeah,
And so for them, just like, why is it always on the side if it's like the thing? Everything else should be on the side. But anyway, so yeah, it's
yeah.
it's it's quite a it's quite a doozy. I think it's one of those things that we still need to work on, because I'm still yet to convince my parents that um I don't know if they're convinced yet now because of where I am, because of music, but
Mhm.
it feels like there's still a bit more to go for them to like really just be,
Like, okay,
yeah. I mean, they'll
yeah.
brag about you to your friend, to their friends and their family, but when it's just
Obviously,
you and them, there's always a little bit of chatter.
there's
But
always a
yeah,
slight
we're getting,
disconnect, just a slight.
you know.
So, does China make it easier for you to focus on your music?
You know
Because you're
what? I
based
will
in
say yes
China, for
and
those
no.
who don't know.
Yeah. So it's a yes and no question, because yes, because I'm actually at an arts institution. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing a master's degree in pop music performance, which is like
Mm-hmm.
right up my alley. And I'm studying singing. So this is like what I've always wanted to do.
Mm.
So I get to meet a lot of artists. I've gotten to meet a lot of musicians, dancers, you name it.
Mm.
And it's really obviously extended my musical palette. And it's also helped me to just grow and just, discover
Yeah.
more about just music in general as an industry, as an art form. And so it's been a blessing for me to actually be here. And
Mm-hmm.
also resources. I've got like access to so many resources when I'm here. I'm able to afford certain things that I wasn't able to afford back home, like studio time, or if I now have my own mic, which is like so vital for a vocalist, right? I have my own
Yeah.
studio mic, so which means if I have an idea for a song, I don't have to wait for the next studio session. I can just record it, and it's so freeing. And I've been able to collaborate more with artists back home, and that's really funny because when I was at home, it was so hard to connect with the people that I wanted to work with, or even just had get the concepts across that I wanted to get across. And now that
Yeah.
I'm here, I'm connecting more with people back home, and I'm just like, this is so strange,
How does
but
this
I'm
maths work?
actually grateful. Yeah, like the maths is like, I come here now, I'm working with more people back home, huh? But that's actually what's happened. And I am so grateful for that. I've worked with even people from Zambia, I've worked with people from different countries. So now it's not just a Zimbabwean thing, it's an African thing, it's a worldwide thing. And that's what I'm most excited about, the
Mm.
opportunity that I have to work with international acts, with people from outside Zimbabwe, outside Africa. It's just amazing, and within Africa as well. So it's been amazing for me, to be honest. It's hard because I have to balance making my own music and actually my course material, but
Uh-huh.
honestly, it's such a blast because I am doing what I've always wanted to do. I'm studying music, all the theory and stuff. So it's actually just enriching my music, my musicality, my artistry. So I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah. Um, I'm actually happy for you too. I mean, I didn't, it's, it seems to have been a slight struggle for you to get what you wanted, but you pushed. So kudos to you.
First through, yeah, I have fought. Sometimes literally I'm joking. There were no I didn't throw any hands, but yeah, it's been a struggle, and I'm just grateful to be here. It's quite something, to be honest.
Yeah. And what advice would you give to other musicians or singers that are like struggling to be seen or feel like they're not being seen? Like, what
They're
advice
not
would you
being
give?
seen. Yeah, I think for me, for the longest, and I think I tweeted about this before.
Mm-hmm.
I was a very disgruntled musician,
Mm-hmm.
especially being in the Zimbabwean space, because there's always people joking about local talent, how local artists want to be supported, but their content is like trash. And I had a
Mm-hmm.
big problem with that because all I
Mm-hmm.
could see when on my timeline were artists that were really gifted, and we weren't getting the exposure that they needed.
But are making do
And
with the
so I complained.
resources.
Yeah, yeah. And I think what I needed to do, what actually happened within me, was a shift in, okay, whatever truth there is in what I said or what I've noticed is there, but what can I do about it?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think for me, when I started really integrating myself and working with other artists, not the big artists or the big names that you want to work with, but like artists who actually relate to your content, artists who actually love you for what you do and want to work with you, my life started to change musically. When I
Mm-hmm.
started to collaborate with people who actually were available, people who were willing,
Mm-hmm.
and just apply myself to the situation and whatever song it is that we're working on, and do my best in that, then I began to see a transformation. It didn't happen overnight, because sometimes it takes time. So it doesn't mean that now that I've met someone, the song comes out tomorrow. Sometimes it takes months or even years for it to, but just developing those connections with different artists within your reach, those who
Yeah.
are within your reach. Don't try to think about the ones that are seemingly at the top. Start with the artists that you are seeing on your timeline, your fellow underground musicians, and follow those and work together. I think collaboration for me that's probably my keyword for 2021 is
Collab.
collaboration. Collaborate, be it in music, be it in art, be it in fashion, whatever it is, collaborate. You don't get out of your comfort zone and work with someone that you've never worked with, that you wouldn't even expect, because this is how I believe hits and gems are created, when we step out of our comfort zone and just have faith in the talent and in the work that we are doing and making, and just try something new, try something with someone that you wouldn't, that's unexpected. And I think that's probably what I would say, especially now, because I think the misconception is you need radio, you need airplay, which is great, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you don't get it. Most times you won't get it nowadays. Like, I know for me, I hardly got airplay for my EP at first, and it broke my heart. But I was just like, after, my friend actually asked me, like, do you need your music to be on radio to know that it's good? And then I was like, well, no, but and he's like, there's your answer. and so I took advantage of the internet. I started just to put my music out there, and I think the more content I put out there, the more I realize I actually don't have as much content out there as I think. Because remember, I've been doing this for a long time, which means that I have a backlog of songs that I've never released, songs that are yet to be, to be finalized and recorded. And when you're holding on to all this work, you feel like you've done a lot, but people don't know that. They can't see it.
Unless you
It's
put it out
there
there.
with you in your, exactly, it's in your bedroom, it's there in your little studio. No one knows that you've done it. So actually, the more content I started to put out and push, the more I realized I didn't have as much content as I thought, because I feel like if you're making good content, that's the first step. When you're making good content, and good content, obviously it's relative. You can't really put like a mark, okay, this is good and bad. But I feel like you also need to surround yourself with people who are honest and open with you and be like, this could be improved. But if you feel like you have a project that's really good, just put out a good project.
Yeah.
Put out a good project and then push and then move on to the next project. Like, that's just how it works. Because in this day and age, what's happening is probably you, when you get to that one song that's going to push you to the level that you want to go to, all of your other work that you've done, it's going to come into the limelight. When you had those one hit wonders where, we didn't have any recollection of what this person used to do. Now, when someone clicks on your, let's just say for K-Chaps, Juicy was like a hit, but he's been making music forever, right?
Yeah.
And now all his other music is just coming to the limelight. People are starting to see that he's actually someone worth, listening to. But that was not because he just had Juicy. He had a whole repertoire. And I feel like artists need to build your repertoire, build your catalog of songs. Especially for me, my word is collaborations, whether it's with a producer or a visuals person, whether it's a director, whether it's someone who's also a rapper or singer. Collaborate, because you guys, you share real fans that way. It's not just, numbers, it's actual people you're connecting to. And I think that's my word. I said a lot of words, but that's actually
Collaboration.
that's what I would say. Collaboration is so key. It's so key.
And this is me being very curious. Why SoulDeep?
It's a very interesting story. That name was actually given to me, and at first I was like, this is so cringe, because me, I'm a very simplistic person. Like, I just wanted my name to be Ru. Rutendo is my name. So I just wanted to call something like Rutendo or Ru. I didn't have time to be thinking about names. Then my friend, who's a house music producer and singer, songwriter, was like, no, because you're so soulful and, you have these deep vocals and stuff as well. So why don't you just call yourself SoulDeep? And in my head, I was just like, first of all, no. And, he was just like, okay, I'm not going to stop calling you this name until it sticks. And, he literally he never used my real name.
He just started calling you SoulDeep.
Until everyone was like, oh, who is SoulDeep? And I'm just like, no, it's not me. But, it's stuck. And it's one of those things where I just had to accept, because everyone was like, I remember one time I was like, I'm going to change my name because I don't know about this one. And people were mad. So I was like, okay, hold on. So it's something that my friend gave to me. And I think I've worn it because I realized that it wasn't actually a bad idea, because he was right about everything that he said. And the sound that I go for in most of my music, it is just so deep, like the lyricism, the
I literally
vocals.
think you embody your name,
which is interesting. And then when you go and Google and you search up, there's like 5,000 of us. But there's only one SoulDeep Zim, which is good. Which is good.
Yeah.
Which I was worried about at the beginning, but now I'm really comfortable with that name because it really does embody what I want to do with my music. Soulful, deep, whether it's the vocals, whether it's the content, it always has to be soul deep. And I think
Don't worry, you'll be the only SoulDeep that people know.
that's what we hope for. I'm really crossing my fingers, but honestly, I'm so grateful that he came up with that name because I'm not one of those people who's innovative with like stage names and stuff. You know, even like when I had to come up with a brand name in fashion school, my teachers were just like, you know what, whatever. But yeah, it's one of those things I struggle with. So I was so grateful to have a person again, collaboration, someone I was working with, to come in and be like, you know what, I think this would suit you, and it really did, and it really does, and I'm so grateful for that.
It's probably the same with me because my name is Ufaro Chengeto, right? But
Yeah.
for my poetry, I use the name Chengeto because that's the name my dad gave me, right? And
Right.
he's the one that like helped me build that particular talent of writing. And then
Yeah.
there was a time I briefly did TV radio and I needed a name. And I remember a friend of mine was like, the Oracle. And I was like, why? And he's like, because when you write, it's like you've seen my feelings, you've seen my grief, you've seen my love, you've seen my happiness. It's like you've seen where I've been without knowing me, and you've seen where people are without even knowing them. So the Oracle. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
all right. So I was still like, he's like the Oracle May, my guy. That's the only way to go. And eventually it's just, I think it's something that is me. So I get it. Like sometimes your names actually come from people who understand you, even though you may not think they do. At that particular
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
you'll be like, but
Yeah.
then
Me, I was just, this is iffy. It's cringe also because just like, why do I need to use an alias? I'm not trying to do like, but anyway, but yeah, totally,
even when I
totally.
saved your number, I just immediately just wrote so deep. I didn't even ask for your like your real name. I was like, nah, this is so deep.
Yeah, a lot of people actually just could not be bothered about my real name because they're like, you know who I'm talking about. I'm saying, no, I don't. But yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. It's the power
Okay.
of, again, working with other people and just being in the same space as someone else. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So what can we expect in 2021 from you?
Wow, for me, I think I'm gonna try and collaborate some more. So I'm gonna do a lot of collabos, not just I hope it's not just music, but in art and fashion as well. I just want to work with like a lot of different people and um just try and work with like different people in different art sectors. So dance, music, film directing. Like my friend just shot the video for me last year for Pieces of Me. So that's what I want to focus on in 2021, really collaborating with different artists in different art forms, and yeah, hopefully we'll get something beautiful out of it. But yes, more musical collaborations because I've hardly ever done musical collaborations, and the ones that I have done, only a few have been released. So I'm excited to just release more collabos this year. It's gonna be like, that's my steez. I want to be on everyone's song. I want to be on
It's a
everyone's
good
record.
energy,
I
my
want to
guy.
be
It's a good energy.
I want to
Like
be on everything. If you think I'll be interested, I most probably will be. So
I'm here for it.
that's
I'm here for it.
that's what I want to do. So 2021 is my year of collaborations, basically,
And speaking of
in all sorts of
collaboration,
forms. Yes,
you recently did a collab with Split Louis. And
yes,
honestly, that's been like my song. Like I'm not going through any heartbreak, but that song
which is
was like,
crazy, right?
it was like, like I think it passed my timeline on a day that I wasn't paying attention. And then there was a day I
Uh huh.
saw someone posting and I'm like, okay, let me just go on YouTube, right? I'm listening to this and then I listened to it again and again. And I was like, you know what, let's just download the songs that it's always on my YouTube.
Let me just keep this because
Let me
obviously,
just keep this.
um,
And I'm assuming you
That
wrote your
song.
own verse and stuff.
Yeah. So this song actually happened in one day, guys. I don't know
Really?
about Splits because Splits, I don't know how he wrote, but Splits was like, so I have a song. I
Mm-hmm.
need this song as a preview for my album, but I need you to write the chorus for me.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure, because he's like, I need that. He's always talking about this international sound. And I'm just like, I don't know what that is. Then he's like, no, just put that, you've got that international thing, but then also kind of Shona. And I'm like, hi, but me, because I usually don't get instructions like that when I'm writing. Then I was like, okay, fine. I sat down with the beat, and honestly, I was overwhelmed because the beat was so good. I was like,
Yeah,
I
it
don't
is.
think I can, because I was like, I don't think I can do this. And
Mm-hmm.
then I after listening to for it to for a while, I paused it. Then I started writing, and then I was like, okay, let's try sing over this. And I wrote it and I sang over it, and I was just like, Splits, I think we have something. And then he's like, can you send me a demo? And I sent him a demo. Then he's like, I need these vocals now, today. Then I was like, I haven't recorded this. This is just a demo. Then he's like, nah, you need to, like, I don't know, do something. And I recorded it that night. Next day,
Uh,
the song was mixed and mastered, and that was it. He was like, it's coming out. I think it was like tomorrow. And then it's like the next day, it's coming out today. And then I was just like, how? It was mixed overnight. The next day, he was already talking about releasing it. I'm like, slow down. I was so confused. When the song dropped, you don't understand. I was still recovering from the fact that we had released it when it came. I had no idea what was, my head was spinning, and
mm.
the response was even more, it was more confusing because like, guys, we did the song in a day. Why are you guys like, streaming so hard? But I was so grateful that
No, it
that for
was
this collaboration.
it was an epic collab. It is an epic collab, actually. Like that's like probably like one of my favorite songs. And me, when I play a song, I really do play it and keep it. Like
You
it's
played
always just
until you
there.
and yeah.
So,
It's so funny because we had so many songs that we've been working on that we haven't released. We
mm,
just we just sit with the music. I'll write the song and then I record, but then we never release. So when this song happened, it was very. I think for the both of us, we were both like, "What just happened?" After the song came out, because we're still like, "What's happening?" So
doing
it's quite an overwhelming experience. We would
I
never have expected it to do what it's doing. So
I can imagine, but that's what happens in life. The biggest breaks always come when you least expect it, when you're never prepared. Like you're never prepared.
like I was not even trying to do, because I'm always, when you're always putting out music, it's kind of like
Mm,
what you do. You don't really expect much. You just like, this is, for the people who follow anyways, whatever.
yeah,
So you put it out there and you just move on with your day.
yeah.
And
So
then yeah, next thing is just crazy.
still in the spirit of collaboration, which three artists would you like to? I know you want to collaborate with many, but which three artists? Like shoot your shot. You never know who will watch this.
Okay, Zimbabwean or just like anyone.
You can mix them up. Who knows? I don't know your
Oh,
top
all
three
right,
right
all
now.
right. All right.
Yeah.
My top three, the first, like one of my top three is Sauti Soul. Like you have no idea. I fell in love with Sauti Soul at Unplugged.
Mm.
When they came, actually, I was opening for Sauti Soul, and I was the opening act for the most of the musicians, anyways. And so when I heard they were coming, I never really listened to their songs. I'd only heard Melanin
Yeah.
and I think Suraya. And then I was just like, okay, since I'm gonna be at this gig, I need to like at least familiarize myself with Salty Soul. So I took a dive deep. Literally the whole day at work, I was just listening to Salty Soul, and my heart was just full. I literally was just like, who are these guys, and why haven't you guys? You guys just played one song about by them all the time,
Mm.
and I didn't really think they were anything, and I was so in love. So ever since I opened that show and watched them on stage, I was like, I need to do a song with these guys. I don't care. One of these days, I'm gonna make a song with these guys, and they keep proving themselves with every album. And I just love Sauti Soul. I'm a I'm a stan. I'm a Sauti Soul stan. And my other collaboration, I think, I know I want to collaborate with ASAF. I love ASAF.
So
ASAF
do
is one
I.
of like my favorite rappers in Zimbabwe, and I would really love to work with ASAF just because he's got this coolness about him that I think
A
would
vibe.
just bring extra vibe, that extra sauce that would bring. I always say I'm a very stiff person, although I look like I've got like groove and stuff, but I feel like I'm not naturally, like that. I think maybe it's just the music that causes me to be like that. And so he seems to have a more like natural and authentic that source and stuff. And so I really would love to work with ASAP on a record. And lastly, I think who would I want to work with? I always have my list because I was told to write a list of all the people I want to work with. So I have a list somewhere of all the people I want to work with. But one of the people I'm excited to actually have on a record is this guy called Six the Law. He's produced a few of my tracks, and I'm currently working on a song that I want to do with him. But he is one of the best rappers to come out of Zimbabwe, and so underrated, so talented. I feel like if that collaboration for me, it's one of those that would just be fulfilling for me as a musician, because he's got the lyricism, he's got the bars, he's got the, that authenticity, and he's got that poetic, that deep rap that you need to like now go look into your, encyclopedia. And I think
Yeah.
it's always exciting when someone has that. So because I'm a very simplistic lyricist, right? I write very simple lyrics. I try to keep even if the subject matter is deep, I always try to keep the essence of the song very like simple. And so when I meet someone who's lyrically profound, I always feel like these are the people I need to hang around. I always ask my rapper friends. I have a lot of friends who are rappers, and like, how do you guys do it? Like, what's your writing process like? And so working with someone like that would really just, I think, enrich my own musical understanding, because these people are just amazing. But yeah, so it's Sauti Soul, ASAP, and Six the Law. I have so many, but off the top of my head right now,
Those are the
pressing that I
ones.
would even, if they would say it now, me, I'll jump on it like now. So yeah,
So,
those are my
guys, if you're listening, she's ready for that
please.
collab, bruv. And so am I.
Anytime, I will just drop everything that I'm doing for that collab. But yeah, that would be exciting. Yeah.
And second last question, how has music impacted your life?
I think for me, for a long time, I think I didn't realize what music meant to me until I was in a space where I couldn't make music. Um, I remember when I first came here, I was so caught up with school that making my own music I didn't really have much time for that. And I think it was a very hard time for me. And I've had times where the music is not happening. I can't write, or I'm not in a position where I can make music. And I always find those have been very difficult periods in my life. And I think for me, music this will sound cliche, but it's always been a safe place for me, because it's where I feel most comfortable and a little bit more confident than I do in other areas of life. And I feel like when I need a boost, music is somewhere I can go to, whether it's me writing a song or just music in general. That's a place where I can just go and get that boost. And I think it's been a safe space for me. I'm really grateful to God for this gift, because I think before it's served others, it's really served me. It's really saved me as well, from a lot. I think for a lot of themes which I'll address in my music, one of them being childhood trauma. What music did was give me an outlet for a lot of the things that I've been through, a lot of things that I've seen, a lot of things we've been through as people, and I get to, I think it's the most beautiful artists, like that most beautiful place where pain becomes beauty,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
pain
Totally
becomes
understand.
something of a wonder. And I think having to, because I have a conflict with myself of, turning my pain into art, because I always feel like there's something wrong with that. But now it's just slowly realizing that, this is the probably one of the most beautiful things that you can do with pain. Um, it's not it's not like a complete holistic therapy, but it's a part of therapy that I don't think I could be able to do without. So yeah, it's probably been a safe space and a healing space, and it saved me quite a bit. It saved me a lot.
I totally get it, because I feel the same when I'm writing. And after my father died, that was literally the only way I could express myself. Like, writing was the only way I could get the feelings out. Because if anybody asked me how I was, I would just be like, fine, and then start crying. Like, I couldn't get the words out. But when I wrote them down, I could get the words out. And it helped me to
Yeah.
the point where I could now actually speak about him. Like, I still get teary-eyed, but it's better than, I'm not where I used to be. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And last but not least, what's one fact about you that most people don't know?
I feel like I tell my business on Twitter a lot. If you follow me on Twitter, there's nothing you don't know about me. Honestly,
For
I
those who
am.
don't follow on Twitter.
Okay, let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I'll tell you one fact about me.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really love learning languages. Like, I wish I was a polyglot. I'm sort of am, but not a good one.
Mm.
So when I pick up one language, the other one starts to go out of the window. But I love, I'm just obsessed with learning languages. Ever since I came here, I I dove deep into Chinese,
Yeah.
like, because that's just who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Once I start learning a language, I can't stop. I watch K-dramas and I start repeating the scripts back and forth, because why? I need to learn the language. And so I'm one person who's very obsessed with learning languages. So if you have an interesting language, guys, that you think I should learn, let me know. But I'm already overwhelmed with
Swedish.
Chinese. Woo! Swedish. That sounds like something I would enjoy. I also speak a little bit of French. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually one of those people who I feel like I should have been some sort of an interpreter in my other life. But anyway, yeah, I love learning language. That's one fact that about me. And I'm scared of bugs and everything that crawls. I'm scared of animals. If it's not dead, I don't want to see it. Thank you.
Gosh, that last part, if it's not dead, I don't want to see it. All right, noted.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm scared of everything. Like, anything, like, now it's like getting into spring, but the leaves are still falling off the trees. So I'll be walking and I hear like a leaf rustling on the ground, and I'm just like, I start bolting, because I'm just like, I don't know what that is. I don't want to see it. I
I
want to
don't want to
know.
know.
But literally, the other day, literally, it was falling from the tree, and I literally jumped up, and the lady in front of me was like, "Are you all right?" And in my head, I'm just like, I had literally a seizure. But yeah, I was standing there, but yeah,
All
I'm scared
right,
of everything.
so for anybody who's listening, just make sure you don't bring an animal
Please,
that is alive near her.
anything, please. If it's dead, I'll scream, but then it's tolerable. If it's alive, I don't really know how I'll act. So please, just be merciful. I love animals from a distance, like on Nat Geo and them, but not in real life.
Yeah, totally
Yeah.
understandable, totally. But thank you so much for being my first guest on the show and for saying yes.
So
Um,
exciting! Yay, number one. It's my first time coming first in anything.
well, not the first, the last, and we collabed here,
Woo!
went with your theme of the
Yes.
year.
Collaboration. I'm always open, guys. Collaborate. Let's collaborate.
Yeah,
Let's collaborate.
her details are gonna be in the description box below and in the comment section. So if you want, you'll be able to get a link to her YouTube channel and her social media handle so that y'all can collab and create some more beautiful music for me to be obsessed over.
Yes,
And
please.
as always, I don't have to ask if you like this. Please hit subscribe and the like button because every Thursday at 11:11, I will be dropping them interviews and you'll never know who I'm going to have.
Yes, follow, subscribe. Like, share, comment, do everything, please.
Do the things. Alrighty. Let me just